everyone, welcome to our Lamb Showmanship Clinic. I'm Josh from USU Extension, and we're going to give you some quick tips on what you can do to prepare your lamb for showmanship at your county fair or show. We're also going to have a mock show where we're going to bring in a couple of showmen and give you a judge's perspective as to what a judge is going to be looking at, hopefully to help you as you're practicing at home with your family. Okay, one of the first things in a showmanship class that we have to look at from a judge's perspective is the lambs coming in on the move. This is where we see as a judge how well you've worked with your animal and how well they walk with their hands. Now I'm going to have the exhibitor hold his hands there. You can see if he's on the move, he's going to have his left arm that's going to be underneath the jaw, and then his right arm is going to be there behind the pole, and that's going to have that lamb's head fixed. There's some exhibitors that like to leave the left hand underneath and have the right hand off of the pole if the lamb walks really well. There's others that'll hold it up there close and kind of come off and on. It really matters what the judge is really looking for that day in their individual opinion. After we get the lamb on the move, we always ask the exhibitors, once they're asked to stop, to set their feet and legs. Now, if you're a senior exhibitor like our exhibitor right here, you might be tall enough to be able to reach around and set those feet and legs, which is what we recommend. If you're a younger exhibitor, you might need to use some pressure and a drive to get those feet set. All right, so now we're going to give you a better close-up of how you should hold your lamb while setting feet and legs if you're a taller or an older exhibitor. So you can see that our exhibitor here reaches underneath that lamb's head and holds it just right so that there's no way that lamb's going to get away from her. She holds it comfortably as well, so when she goes back into that drive, it's not going to offset it. Sometimes we can pull the head clear far back. Sometimes we don't get in front enough to be able to position ourselves if the lamb wants to move to be able to hold on to him. If you're a younger exhibitor and the feet and legs are a mile away from you, which can happen, our exhibitor here is going to show how you can drive and put a little bit of pressure on the lamb by using your inner thighs to be able to put that pressure and move those feet into position. After the feet are set into a square position, which the lamb, you can see there is very square set. The angles of their feet are at 90 degrees up from the back into the front. You can see that there. You go into what we call a drive. Now our showman here is in a good drive position where he's got his legs open in kind of an L shape. The back leg is curved a little bit to withstand the pressure of the lamb that's being put on there. And the front leg is there to brace and to drive that lamb into a flex, and it oftentimes will help to level the top line of the lamb. It'll also accentuate the muscularity of the lamb for a market class and showmanship. Not only do we need to worry about our legs in a drive, but we also have to be very careful with our hands. And you can see I wanted to do a little bit of a close-up on the hand placement when we're driving here. You can see the showman right here has his hands there. He's a senior. He has longer arms, he has bigger hands, and so he holds that lamb's head just a little bit differently than we might see down the line here a little bit. But this is a very good, acceptable way to show that lamb and to fix those hands in place there. We'll move on to the next. See the young lady that's kind of in the trigger shooter, the gun position showing of hands there. This is another great method to use. You can see that she's maybe a little bit younger, doesn't have as long as arms, and so that lamb's nose is going to go up a little bit further onto her forearm. She's also got a really good hold there with that hold there, and her hands look really nice as she shows that ewe lamb. Come to the next exhibitor here, and she's got a more traditional type of a hold, a good rest arm with the hands, and then she's got those thumbs that go up over the tops of those ears, and then she's got her hands at rest there on the pole. She'll get back into that position here really quick, and you can see that. That's really acceptable in this position, and our exhibitor here is doing a great job of it. What we have to be careful of, especially with our young exhibitors, is we do not want to have ears become handlebars. So you need to be very careful that we're not yanking on ears or holding them or using that as a handlebar. You can see our exhibitor here just got a nice loose hold on that head, and that makes that lamb very comfortable, and it allows a good drive as far as the head catch is concerned. Rear angle of the things that we were just looking at on the side profile, we're going to ask the showman to go ahead and reset. Okay, this is setting those feet and legs. We wanted to give you a view of what that square look looks like from behind. Okay, so he takes his time there to get those set just like he would like them, and when he's ready to go, he's going to go back into a drive. Okay, so all right, you can see right here, this is what we call getting off the front, or at our hospital, presenting. You can see that Dixon was go ahead and grabbing that lamb right up above the kneecap there, and he's moving those legs to be set and square off the front. Now, in this perspective, if I'm a judge, I am off to the front and off to the opposite side of where Dixon is, and so he's getting that lamb presented, and he's allowing me a clear view of the front there. Now, there are 4 points that we need to be aware of as a showman when the judge is moving around. Those points are the nose, the shoulder, the tail head, and then the opposite shoulder. As a judge moves around that lamb, we need to shift ourselves accordingly. And so we're going to show you that right now. As the judge moves and he crosses that foreshoulder, the minute that that judge comes there, the exhibitor goes into a drive. Then, as that judge crosses that tail, he's going to still be driving, but he's going to shift his angles and his side there. And then again, we come back to that other point, which is that shoulder. The minute that the judge crosses that foreshoulder, the exhibitor goes back into that present mode, and he gets right off the front end there and is able to present that lamb. Now, I want you to notice his hands, how they cup underneath the jaw there, and keep that head really level and straight. Okay, this camera is going to be a depiction of where the judge is in our mock show here. We have the exhibitors that are entering the ring here, and you can see the differences in how they're... Okay. From this perspective, you can see that most of the lambs are doing a good job, that their feet and legs are square and set. The young lady in the blue shirt's lamb is being a little bit more difficult as she sets those feet and legs and goes back into a drive, and that's something a judge might consider in a class this size with this type of showman. You might also notice the head placement of the young lady in the white shirt. The lamb is clear off of her belly button and looking the opposite direction there as she's driving. Okay, a judge would be looking at that. Notice the young man's hand placement is correct, and he's got that lamb set the way that we'd like it as far as his head is concerned. Okay. Now, as a judge, you're going to go ahead and we're going to move from one place to the other in the line, and we're going to be looking for the exhibitors to be aware of where the judge is and see if they're able to respond to switching those sides. Right now, we are on the right-hand side from our perspective of all of the tails. And so remember, we talked about that being a point. All of our exhibitors currently are on the correct side. Let's move and see what happens. Okay, we see that 2 of our exhibitors have responded to us moving. The young lady in the blue shirt, not only did she not pay attention to the side that she should be on, but as we moved, her lamb got offset. You'll notice that as the young lady in the white shirt moved, her lamb offset as well in those back feet. When we get competitive and we get very fierce as far as showmanship is concerned, those types of things we have to pay close attention to. See that lamb? All right, here we are, and we got these exhibitors that are set in this parallel line. Sometimes a judge, before they go and they handle the animals, will test the exhibitor's ability to understand where the judge is. And so we're going to walk around and remember those 4 points that we talked about. The minute that we cross that foreshoulder, our exhibitors should be getting off the front of their lambs, okay, and getting those feet set. And every one of them has done a really nice job. They've got those head sets, they've got their hands held. Now look, we have some differences in how those hands are being held, but that's okay. Those heads are leveled, they're set, and those lambs look really good. Now, as we can walk down this line, we'll notice that our exhibitors, as soon as we cross that nose, they go back into the other side. So they're on the opposite side of our judge. They are also still in that present mode or off the front of their lamb because we still, as a judge, are in the front. Okay, we continue to move around, and as soon as we cross that foreshoulder, we'll be looking for our exhibitors to go back into that drive mode. And again, every one of them is doing a really nice job here. You'll notice that in that drive mode, we had some lambs that were offset. As a judge, I really appreciate that the young lady noticed that and that she got her lamb set up again, ready to drive there, and a really nice job done that way. Okay, and we have some lambs that are on the move just a little bit. That might dock you in a showmanship class. We want them to be set and we want them to be fixed in that drive. Okay, after we go around as a judge will start to come up and they'll want to handle the lambs. Okay, and so at this point, you're going to want to be aware of where the judge is so that you can go up and you can handle over the rack, into the loin area, and oftentimes you might be handling for some condition. Okay, the judge is going to do that. The young lady right here, as far as an exhibitor where her lamb's not wanting to cooperate and is moving and doing those different things, when I'm coming up to handle as a judge, that might be something that I might deduct her a couple of points in my mind on as far as that evaluation. Okay, we come up to this young lady here, and she did the right thing. She shifted over, and she did what we would expect her to do as far as the side is on. Okay, I might do a handling of the lamb there. Okay, and I might evaluate just a little bit. If I was being really nitpicky as a judge right now, I'd like to see that ewe lamb just a little bit more wide in her stance there on those back wheels or back legs. Okay, but that's just being nitpicky. But if I'm getting down to where I'm trying to decide as a judge who my top showmen are going to be, I'm looking for that showman that can actually accentuate to the best of the ability the characteristics of the lamb. Come to the young man here, and I shift to that other side, and you watch him move. Okay, I'm going to handle that lamb across his rack, okay, over his loin, and handle him for condition. Okay, he moved just a little bit. Okay, and if he's moved, I'm going to expect the young man to get him reset very quickly. Okay, and go back into that set. Okay. Now, one thing that I want to point out as a judge, and each one of these exhibitors has done a really nice job. You'll notice the space in between the lambs in this parallel line. Sometimes we can get too bunched up and it can get too crazy, and we've got to be really careful about that. It's very rude as a showman to be bunched up against another showman and causing their lamb to go offset or those types of things. Give yourself plenty of space. As a showman yourself, you are going to want to have that space so that you can actually alter yourself if you do have somebody's lamb next to you that's a little unruly or out of control. It gives you the opportunity to move to where you need to keep yourself spaced out and ready to go. Okay, so we're going to ask these lambs to go on a side profile really quickly, facing to the east there. Okay, same thing. You can see the showmen are doing a great job setting these legs and feet and legs. Okay, and you can see that there's a good amount of space in between them. You can see the weather there on the front end that wasn't wanting to maybe cooperate as much. The young lady in the blue shirt, she had enough space there that when he kind of went back a little bit, she was able to correct him and move without having to run into the young lady in the white shirt. Okay, and so you'll see that they've done a really nice job setting him up. At this point as a judge, I would say, oh, you know what, that young lady in the blue shirt, that weather's not wanting to cooperate as much. We might pull them out of the competition. Okay, we go back into here. We look at these two lambs. We look at overall what the showmen are doing here, and we say, you know what, we're splitting hairs. But as far as the feet placement on that side profile and the way that we'd like to get them set up, this young man's done a little bit nicer job in that overall square set with the weather. The young lady's got her front legs that are spread just a little too far there on the lamb as far as that overall square set, and so we would evaluate that way. And so we're going to talk about when lambs are on the move and the judge is in a certain area, and we're going to look at some turns. We talked about those points of being able to turn to the side. So as our exhibitor here approaches us, you can see that she quickly and calmly moved right across the front and switched sides, which is acceptable. We have our exhibitor coming towards us right now. That did stay on the opposite side of the judge, but put herself in a really bad situation. That's a really bad. All right, here's another example. This is going to be their positive examples here. Our exhibitor is going to do a figure 8 turn and pull that lamb into them and move around there. Okay, so you can see that turn right there. The lamb never crossed. The exhibitor never crossed in front of me or the lamb. Okay, we're going to do the quick turn around the front here again. Very acceptable now in today's showmanship world. A quick turn around the front. Again, one last tip for showmanship. Oftentimes you'll have a judge that would like to visit with you a little bit about your animal. Oftentimes the questions that they ask you aren't very difficult, but they're looking for a few things. They're looking to see if your involvement with your project has been in depth or not. They're also looking to see what your communication skills are. And so we do have a little handout that we will provide for you after this clinic that's going to be available right back here on the website. You can click on to find some of the familiar questions that you might find the judge asking. The other thing that I would lastly leave you with is the idea of when speaking with a judge, you make sure to have really good eye contact and a positive attitude. Make sure that you listen carefully to the questions that are being asked of you and that you answer appropriately. Again, eye contact and confidence will really help you when that judge is having a visit.